Hey there, and welcome to today's Daily Premium Newsletter for May 9th. So today saw us neutral in the market, with a sharp midday slump ending with a mild increase in price, which is very similar to what we've seen over the past couple days. As we mentioned yesterday, the red candles have become less and less severe, and today's neutral result is the first time this week we haven't ended clearly in the red. One cause of this stalemate could be that there's no actionable news in the market today. Overall, it just hasn't really been an exciting week. That said, there are still things we can discuss. Today, a new version of the code of Casper, a planned improvement to Ethereum's consensus protocol, has been released. The Casper version 0.1 first release code was posted on GitHub. Casper will reportedly combine proof of work, or mining, with proof of stake, or staking, with the end goal of having Ethereum being completely staking only. This is in response to the problems that cryptocurrency mining has suffered from, namely a large energy profile and node centralization through ASICs. Essentially, staking does not use the massive amount of electricity that people often criticize mining for, and it theoretically promotes better network stability as investors are incentivized to hold their coins, providing better network resilience. We're eager to see the changes coming to Ethereum and what it will do to the larger crypto space. Ethereum's announcement of the move to staking last year and has influenced many other projects to pursue staking over mining. Last for today, the Winklevoss twins have won a patent application regarding exchange-traded products, or ETPs, using cryptocurrencies. While derivative-based cryptocurrency investments already exist as Bitcoin futures, no ETPs exist for the US market just yet. Their company, Winklevoss IP, has managed to secure 5 patents since the start of 2018. The previous patent aimed to improve security in crypto transactions using a number of common cryptographic techniques. The Winklevi have previously applied for a Bitcoin ETF, but so far no company has been able to receive approval from the SEC. We suspect that ETF approval won't occur until the SEC is ready to move forward with its regulations for crypto, and they've allowed the space to mature somewhat. We look forward to that day that is inevitably coming. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Doc. Have a great rest of your day.
Good evening, it's Doc for ReadySetCrypto. I'll start out tonight by looking at Bitcoin versus the US dollar, and what I'm seeing here again is just a little bit of consolidation. So we've seen a pullback over the last few days into a support line. So what we're looking at here is, this is kind of what we have to watch out for here. If the price does end up undercutting that trend line, and it should at some point, rising patterns will eventually break to the downside. So even if we do get a bounce from here at some point, whether or not it's now or in the future, we'll probably end up pulling back to somewhere around this area. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Think about it this way. If you're summiting Mount Everest, so if you're trying to summit Mount Everest, what often happens is that climbers will get up to a certain base camp level, whether it's base camp 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, and all of a sudden fall ill to altitude sickness. And what they have to do is they have to actually revert back to a lower base camp before they can kind of restore themselves and then make their way back up to the next base camp and then keep climbing up to the various base camps. But this is quite often what you see is something like this. And we see this in financial markets all the time. They pull back and everybody gets all upset and says, oh no, it's dropped another 10%. This is all over. And it's just this structure of markets. This is what we expect them to do. And in fact, if it pulls in with too much negativity, then we can see all that negativity unwound. This is where we get into short covering, and we see what's called a slingshot move, which is just a higher low, higher high, up we go. It's almost like pulling back at a rubber band and letting it go like a slingshot. Now, we do have a tremendous amount of energy here on the daily chart. This is a lot. This is not going to sit there for very long before it's going to move. And if we go out to the weekly chart, we can also see we've also got a lot of energy here at the weekly chart as well. So we've had a lot of consolidation for the last several days, the last several weeks. This range contraction will lead to range expansion. So across the board on the top 10 here, we're sort of hit and miss in terms of what's moving up, what's moving down. You can see Ethereum is still holding this trend line, pulling back, but kind of a doji day today with about 3 hours left in the trading day. This is so far just a doji. But across the board, it's really hit and miss. Here's Ripple. Here's Bitcoin Cash, which is up. Nothing is up tremendously. Actually, right now, this reminds me of something that it's just about, it's almost like an airplane which is just about to roll over and stall out. So the market overall could benefit from a little bit of pullback to stoke up that negativity again. And like I said so many times, we're still under the influence of a weekly downtrend. So to break that spell of that weekly downtrend, we do need to print a higher low, get the negativity stoked up, have the bulls come in, buy this thing, get a stampede going. That's how this bear will end. So during this time, we'll do our best to try to get into some swings in the meat of the move, but we don't want to press it too far. We don't want to press these swings near the top too much, especially when it looks like they're losing steam and about to roll over. We want to look for those pullbacks and start to become aggressive with the pullbacks. We don't want to be chasing these things up near the top. So for those of you that are impatiently waiting for swing trades, they will come. They will come. We have to wait till the trade comes to us. So even though the top 10, top 20 are not really moving around all that much, what's interesting, and I always check this every day, is to go down to the screener here in TradingView. And if we kind of click here on what's happening, so we can either see the largest change to the downside or the largest change to the upside. Let's focus on the upside. So the one that caught my attention down here is actually Zilliqa, which is a platform coin. So if we click on this, we can bring that up. We can shrink down the screener and look at this thing go. So this has just gone from a relative energy peak and it's just exploded to the upside. I'm trying to find ways to get this scanner to work with my chop index, which is my preferred tool. And right now the screener does not work with the chop index to email me on these high energy peaks. So we almost have to watch out for these things and do this manually for now until I can find a way to code this in. But this is kind of today's needle in the haystack. This is something that's just exploding. This one is going berserk. Now don't chase after this. Wait until, this is kind of like this week's ontology. Wait for this one to pull back. So speaking of ontology, this one is doing a very nice job. So after we bought this one off the flag, it's building the next flag. So this is more of just a typical horizontal pattern, setting up this flag. Once we get into a high degree of energy up here, it's only going to take another couple of days, perhaps we will pursue another swing trade on ontology. Why not? We can set these things up with a fixed risk position where we define the risk on the position and we're not worried about setting up stops. Okay guys, that is it for today's report. Thanks for listening. We'll get moving soon. We'll see you tomorrow.